Okay, got it. All right. Welcome everyone to project call number one for KEKDAO and Universe. We're all really excited to be here with you today and start talking about one of our new projects, the KEKDAO, and what we're going to do. So I'm going to start off and let Tyler give everyone a large overview of Universe and how all that is going to be interconnected.
Yeah, so Universe and KEKDAO obviously stemmed off of some of the work that we were doing with NFT work, probably going back like 30, 45 days ago. It's not something that is like singularly my idea. It's very much like a conglomeration of ideas that a lot of people on this call had together. When we were essentially working on NFP, we had some issues with everything to do from minting, how on-chain metadata is held, as well as just finding like an effective auction platform. And so when we essentially were launching the project, everyone on this call is basically working in a capacity where they're building towards KEKDAO and non-fungible universe. But we also basically have what we call a brain trust of a lot of the people that were originally involved in the project. A lot of like prolific investors, a lot of people that run DeFi protocols, a lot of people that run NFT protocols. And so we went back and forth on what we really wanted to build with that brain trust, as we call it. And we essentially settled on, well, the first thing that we need to fix is just having an effective place that artists can go and run auctions and essentially have collections. But separate from that, Tim also has been working in the NFT space for a very long time. I think a lot of people who are deep in the NFT space know that he's a pretty large scale investor of NFT projects. And he's also had some difficulties in everything from showing his collections to working with artists. I know that Justin Blau had some issues in some of the auctions that he was running. So we're essentially taking a lot of that workflow and funneling it into a lot of what we've been building over the past 2 months. But separate from all of that, this is where I will just say it's a conglomeration of ideas. Ryan, who's on this call and runs a lot of the project management for Dev, had originally come on through NFP just to help with building some gaming functionalities. And we realized that he was a pretty unbelievable developer that was hiding, and that's a pretty scarce asset in crypto right now. But separate from all of this that I kind of just talked about at a high level, Troy and less so myself had really been looking into a lot of work around like decentralized media. That's really where I met like Dragos and the DMob team going back in the day. And we had basically looked down the rabbit hole of Filecoin and trying to figure out how we could decentralize user interfaces, more for DeFi and for Barnbridge. And kind of fast forward as we had this like platform and launch pad to build a lot of the stuff that we wanted to build long term. We just decided to kind of merge the efforts, and we had already been talking with like Dfinity and a lot of groups on how, including Fleek, who's Harrison, who I worked with and started Token Foundry with at Consensus, and we brought him on as an advisor. And basically, the overall point is that if we want to build all of this into one like interface where there's a social network catch-all where people can interact with each other. Tim and a lot of his designers can show all of their collections. We have a place that people can easily mint and auction art, and also kind of live at the intersection of DeFi and NFTs, which is going to be a problem for platforms like OpenSea. We really basically want to work very hard on making sure that the interface level and not just the smart contracts are actually decentralized. So we merged all of this together into a protocol called Universe, non-fungible universe. We also call it universe.xyz because that's the domain, but it's all powered by KEKDAO, which will be a modified fork of the Barnbridge DAO. And so LimeChain, who's also on this call, helped build BondBet. And so we decided to segment out a lot of the dev work in terms of what we were doing. So that's a very roundabout way in terms of how all of this came about and what we've been doing over the past like 2 months or a month. I'm unsure of when we kind of transitioned everything over to non-fungible universe, but at scale and at aggregate, what this looks like, if we can pull it off, is going to be a place where artists and their communities can basically interact with each other. They'll be able to, very similar to like a social network. And then they'll also be able to build new things into that social network and community that they've created, all on a base layer interface that is fully decentralized and powered, hopefully by Dfinity, and all of the financial components and base layer settlement will be handled via DAO on Ethereum. And so that was very much a long-term vision. And a lot of what happened and transpired over the past 90 days kickstarted us into deciding we were going to build that now through this framework. So again, it's a conglomeration of a lot of ideas. It's nothing that was just mine, but we're all working on it together to make this come true. And Troy can probably talk a little bit about the decentralized media stuff and Dfinity in a little more depth in this call, because in my opinion, that's one of the most exciting things about this project that we're doing different than a lot of the fundraisers that people may see, like with, OpenSea raising 25 million. I think we're probably the only group that's really focused on this interface layer stuff, but that's my TED talk.
Awesome. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it. And let's just slide into letting everyone introduce themselves. I wanted Tyler to go ahead and give a quick overview before we did that, just so we didn't lose anyone. We wanted you to know what the call is about. I'll go ahead and start off. My name's Mark. I've worked for Barnbridge for the last 5 months. I actually started working for Tyler about 1.5 years ago for Proof Systems. I'm kind of like Tyler's helper. I try to help out as much as I can, do whatever I can, whatever needs to be done gets done. I work with Pablo most of the time, all the time. And basically we work together to get anything done that needs to be done. I wouldn't say that we have a specific job title anymore. We like to call ourselves get shit doners. That's just kind of how it is in crypto. It's something new every day and it keeps you on your toes and excited. So we really love it. Who wants to go next?
I think Tim should go next.
Tim.
I'll go next. I'm Tim Kang. I got into NFTs a bit ago. I may be known for collecting a lot, but I have a background in software engineering. I've been working on a live music streaming platform for a couple of years, but put that in the back burner to focus fully on NFTs. And yeah, I'm also building a grants program. It's a charity that's intended to really help artists get into NFTs and other things. And that's something I'm excited about. And a lot of the work that I'm doing there is also going to be in tandem with providing some infrastructure for NFU. And yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. I'll go next. So I'm Troy Murray. I'm horrible at intros like this, but I'm gonna try to wing it. Let's see. You might probably know me from Barnbridge. I've been working with Tyler and the DMob team for maybe DMob like 3 years, and then Tyler almost like 1.5 years, almost 2 years now. But we were working on decentralized media before this, before like doing some DeFi work. And then I've always kind of felt like NFTs, there's some problems on where the actual like value is stored. It's not very decentralized, and so I've been very skeptical of them. But I think that we have a team here that can really put this together and like change the way the industry operates for the better, in my opinion. And so I'm really excited about the stuff that we are exploring and designing, because I think it will fix some of those problems and concerns that I've personally had. And I know everyone is kind of focused on that. So there's my talk. That's my intro.
People, y'all fill in. Whoever wants to go next, just go. I think everyone knows.
Yeah, tack on though to Tim and Troy, since they're humble. Like Tim's also known as Illustrator. I think anybody can like look him up, and he's a badass. I don't want his intro to. I mean, people are humble, and also Troy has worked in decentralized media for a very long time. I mean, so has Tim. Tim like built a music streaming app. He's super deeply connected with a lot of like very high-end artists. A lot of people respect him as like a leader and influencer in the NFT space. He's very much our beacon for making sure that we do a lot of this right from an NFT side. And I would say Troy is equally that on the media and having a deep understanding of how media works in crypto. Everything from all of the platforms, the architecture of all of the platforms, as well as really taking a look at making sure like the artists are compensated. So yeah, I just have to shill on their behalf since like, you know, they're humble.
Yeah, when we completely empower artists and we have a platform that gives back, Tim will be the one to thank. He pushed, and he honestly gave us these great ideas on how to make this truly community-led and empowering some of these people, and make it about the artists, not about NFTs or resales and some of these other things.
I'm fighting for y'all. Got you.
I'll say Troy did that too. It's very equal. Me being
Yeah,
the business
absolutely.
guy, our platform would not be as architected for artists as it was if it wasn't for Troy and Tim. But I'll shut up and let everybody else introduce themselves.
I can go next. I'm Ryan Sturmer. I've been in Ethereum space for a couple of years now, playing around. Been really heads down, focused on all this for the last month with everyone, which is really, really exciting. So I'm operating as the product owner here. So in some ways, I'm kind of managing expectations on all sides, but kind of the goal is to build this platform out as great as we can for both creators and the users bidding on these NFTs, which is really exciting. So I'm working really closely with Tim, Troy, Mark, Pablo, and the brilliant devs from LimeChain to kind of build this all together. And it's just super exciting.
Dragos, you want to go next? King Dragos.
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone. So my name is Dragos Izescu. I just make that joke. Did on the Barbary stuff. Anyway, so I'm part of DMOB. I'm in charge of like making products. My background is software development. Been in this crypto ecosystem for 5 years now, more than 5 years. Met Tyler and Troy for a long time ago, part with Cesar right here. And we're here to support on the Web3 stuff that we want to do for a product. So that's my short intro.
Thanks, Dragos. And Pablo.
Hold on, maybe Cesar, you want to follow up since we're kind of brothers here.
Yeah, why not? Hi guys, I'm Cesar. I'm a project manager. I'm part of the DMOB team. I've joined the blockchain space in 2016. I also have some experience in decentralized media. I used to work with Troy for a long time. And I'm looking forward to building this product. That's my short introduction. Thanks.
Awesome. We're glad to have you, Cesar. Pablo, you want to go next?
Yep. My name is Pavlo Bandus. I'm based in Ukraine. I originally studied software engineering, but got engaged more in the marketing and project management areas. I ran a small local marketing agency here, then got engaged working with Tyler in Pro Systems. We ran marketing and ads management for a lot of different companies, and a lot of them were blockchain companies actually. Then got involved in Barnbridge, and this was how I actually got engaged in DeFi deeply. And here I'm just trying to help. I'm helping in coordinating front end and design activities, and also with the project management.
Yeah, Pablo is like a one-man army. I don't know what I would do without Pablo. And Dima is also a one-man army. We'll let Dima introduce himself. Dima is the person who's going to be behind all of the KeckDAO and Universe designs. He's also really humble, so I'm going to just hype him up. Dima is an unbelievable artist and designer, and he's probably made more websites for crypto companies than the average human being. And every time he crushes it. And I really can't wait to launch the site so everyone can see it. But I'll let Dima introduce himself.
Yeah, hi there. Thank you, Mark. So my name is Dima. I'm the UX, UI, and brand identity designer with more than 8 years of experience. So I like to take the ideas and goals and bring them to life through the visual medium to create something really special. But in the same time, I always try to focus on the user, which allows me to make a really useful design. I've been working with Tyler for about 3 years on different fintech, DeFi, and crypto projects, and I'm really happy to be here in the KeckDAO now. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Dima. And then I'll turn it over to Ilya and let him.
Well, wait. Let me tack on to what for Dima's, just so everybody knows. Dima has, well, first of all, Dima's the best designer that I've ever met. And I mean Dennis from Barnbridge is pretty unbelievable. I just have worked with Dima a long time. I think Mark's right. He's probably made more logos for blockchain companies than in branding packages than anybody I've ever met. But the reason I just wanted to chime in on Dima is that I have another company that I've run for a long time called Proof Systems, which is one of the larger like UI UX shops in crypto. One of the reasons we were able to bootstrap this project without it being a major distraction to like Barnbridge is that we are porting a lot of the, like I'm basically shutting Proof down now that we like close that round. So Dima has like a lot of designers behind him, and there will be other people that join this call in the future that are kind of at they're splitting time and slowly moving over. So like Kate Herbert is going to be very helpful. We have a lot of like project managers. I'm not sure how many all of these people are actually going to join the call, but Dima has probably 5 to 10 people behind him who are helping him execute on a lot of this, including React developers, project managers, designers. So when you kind of see everything that comes out, Dima's got very much has a team behind him who's going to be helping, and he's going to be at kind of the top of it, making sure the quality that's getting pushed up is proper.
It's going to be A quality. It's going to be good. All right, Ilya, you want to introduce the LimeChain guys? And I don't want to butcher anything.
Maybe Zico can
Butcher
start with the
anything.
more better version of the intro, and we'll introduce ourselves then. You're muted, man.
Way to put me on the spot, I was saying, but yeah, all right. So I'm Zivko, but everyone calls me Z because it's kind of complicated Slavic name. Basically, we're LimeChain. We're builders. We're a dev shop, and we are building dApps and blockchain infrastructure since early 2017. Initially started working with the Barnbridge team on BondBet in late last year, and now we're super excited to be part of Non-Fungible Universe, and where we're mostly building the Solidity part. And I will let it to Ilya and the rest of the team also to introduce themselves.
Thanks, Jivko. All right, guys, my name is Ilya Andreev. I've been in the software world since 8 years from now. Been mostly QA and team lead, and naturally progressed to project manager in LimeChain since year and a half from now. I basically help Stan and Andy focus on the dev stuff and building something great. And really, it's a pleasure to be here and working with all you guys.
Yeah. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Stan. So I'm a Solidity dev from the LimeChain team. Previously, we worked on the BondBet smart contracts, and now we are working on the auction side for the non-fungible universe. And yeah, looking forward to work with you.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Andon. They call me Andy for shortly. I've been working for LimeChain for a few months already. I'm on the blockchain field for 2 or 3 years, and I have some previous experience on cross-chain atomic swap, decentralized exchange. And right now I also have experience as a full stack developer. And right now I'm focused on the smart contracts about the auction for the Solidity.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, the LimeChain guys are doing most of everything on the back end, and I don't know a ton about coding, but I can see that they've already finished some of the auction contracts and some of the stuff that's really important to what we're building. So it's exciting that it's already all coming along and we're in motion. And like Tyler said, I think we've been working on this for almost 60 days now. Actually, not even that many, maybe 50. But let me let Al and Nick actually introduce themselves. Save the best for last. Al, you're muted.
Hey there, guys. My name is Alex. I basically do whatever Tyler wants me to do. Currently, I am working on the character lore, creating stories for each of the 69 characters. Me and one of the artists have been making comics. Hopefully, like later on, we can get that finished quicker once all the characters art is all done. My background is in psychology. I also have a lot of experience managing artists and writing. I've always enjoyed like writing stories. I have like over 100 songs written. But yeah, right now I'm just focused on character lore. That's my main thing with NFU.
Yeah. And then this is Nick. Nick is also working on character lore and helping out wherever he can. He's been helping out on some of the designs, but I'll let Nick.
Yeah, what up, guys? I'm Nick. I'm Mark and Tyler's brother, if you didn't know. Right now I'm working mainly on like the character and the actual NFT development and like what they're working with Dima and V, like how like the actual NFTs are gonna work. And I've also been helping with the comics and writing down a few stories and ideas for that as well. I'm also just a get shit doneer, one of Tyler's lackeys, and we just do whatever, you know.
So I think that's everybody. We'll give Malad a shout out as well. He's not here, but he's actually, I believe, is in charge. He's like the head guy, but Malad's a beat.
He's there. He's behind Caesar. I saw him.
Oh,
walk
Malad,
in.
do you want to introduce yourself or no? It looks like Malad, he doesn't want to introduce himself. Malad is waving back there, and Malad's actually who helped, he's one of the main devs at DMOB who helped architect the Barnbridge DAO, which we'll be forking. And we'll talk about that on some other calls once that gets closer on the roadmap. But I do want to go talk about the characters, because I don't think Tyler mentioned that, and Alan Nick also mentioned. So as an NFT project, we're creating a lot of infrastructure and kind of creating like an NFT ecosystem with social auctions, you know, people can interact with each other. They can make short films. They can have this decentralized media, release comics, any type of, media that you would like to create. Checkout is going to allow you to do that. And basically, we're going to lay the groundwork and create the tools and allow anyone to use these tools. And basically, I look at OpenSea as like a tool. So if we're just going to give you guys these tools and lay the groundwork and basically do our own character launch, we're going to launch 69 original characters under the KEKDAO. And we're going to create comics and stories and, short films, whatever anyone wants us to do and make for these characters. We're going to do it and show you guys what the capability is of this platform. So like really the main goal is almost create like a decentralized Disney where you can create characters and they can get, if there's enough hype behind this character, we can go and push them and make a movie about them. And if this movie is awesome because everyone loves them. And then it's like a Mickey Mouse scenario where like Mickey Mouse was a drawing and now we have this huge media company called Disney who owns everything. So I think the really interesting thing here is that, we're starting with NFTs and pictures, but we're really trying to look into what true like financial technology we can apply to this, what gaming technology we can apply to this, what decentralized technology we can apply to this. And while doing it, we want to show everyone, the capability. So that's why we're going to create the 69 characters. And we'll let you guys know more about them. We have a bunch of them done. They're already really sick. But we still have to close some like the ends and figure out exactly how we're going to release them. And we're leaning more towards a bonding curve. I know a lot of people love bonding curves with NFTs, so we'll just leave it at that. But I'm going to move over and just explain a little bit about the office. Tim.
Hey, I got to clarify one or two things just for the legal side as we start to make announcements. I'll try not to like interrupt as much on future calls, but there's basically two types of drops on the platform. There's going to be like drops that artists can come in and essentially like launch their own collections on the platform. Very similar to like the Blau drop where you have all of the tiers and an artist can essentially set a reserve for the auction and you basically have just very similar of an auction format to what Blau did, right? All of the proceeds for that auction are going to go back to the artist. So we're not going to essentially like take a fee on that. But what the core drops are for is, in my opinion, a lot of the what I would call like low effort drops that we're starting to see in the ecosystem. I've said a couple times that like we're almost in DeFi summer of last year where it's just like copy and pasting like YAM type projects until some of the like true guts of what are getting built out start to release and make people excited about DeFi again. Well, NFTs are kind of going through that too, where there's just like, I mean, there's so many pixel projects that are dropping and it's almost becoming like a little redundant, like that just everybody's making a new version of punks. But there are like very high effort projects that are being built. And the reason they haven't been released is because they're high effort and they take longer. So for one of the things that we're going to be doing via KEKDAO is basically working on projects that actually take a lot of time and development and code. And we're basically releasing those into the ecosystem. I'll just say one thing about us versus like a decentralized Disney is that we don't like the KEKDAO doesn't own these characters like IP. They're all going to be Creative Commons, and all of the drops that we do are going to be open source. So like some of the problems that I ran into with like Pepe, not knowing that Pepe even had a creator. And I think everybody knows how that went. I'm not going to talk too much about it just because of legal reasons. Any character that we create can be used pretty much anywhere, right? Like, so if someone wants to make a meme out of it, so long as it's not for like racism or bigotry or it's used in some negative way, like no child pornography, then these characters are Creative Commons and people can go and use them in other drops that they want to do on the platform. Artists can use them in art, but also the software that we code related to these drops, whether we build bonding curves, whether we're doing a really cool project called Polymorphic Keck. All of that stuff is going to be open source for other people to come in the future and build with and build on. So we're hoping that our efforts to do these things, like build a framework and pathway that other people can use essentially to make cooler drops, so that we're not just seeing copy paste punks across NFTs for the next 10 years. But that's just one thing that I need to clarify on the initial call for the lawyer.
Yeah, and just to clarify one more time, that's our stuff that is Creative Commons. Like if you have copyrighted work and you would like to launch on our platform and you have it copyrighted, then if you own the copyrights, that's different. But like KeckDAO can't, like, we're just gonna make everything open commons and you guys can do whatever you want with it as long as it falls within Tyler's means. But that doesn't mean that everything on KeckDAO is Creative Commons. You know, if you have copyrighted work, you can launch it, and then, you know, it's up to you what you want to do, you know, and how you.
Right. Yep. So any off-chain stuff that you want to handle, if you launch something on KeckDAO, if you have a company that builds something on KeckDAO with a client, y'all figure out all of the IP stuff on your own. And that's your off-chain legal stuff. We are a DAO. We have no legal structure. So we do not own any IP for the things that we're working on. But other people, if they launch things on our platform, that's fine. It's a very different story. So separating these out, we have drops that are coming in from other people, other artists, a lot of people that like Tim and Justin will bring in. Then on the other hand, there's core drops that we're building. That's where I'm saying all that stuff's open source and Creative Commons. So Mark, really good point on clarifying that.
So I think Tyler's actually hit on a bunch of the auction stuff. So I don't know if Tim needs to really expand on it as much. One thing I'll add is we are going to have multiple types of auctions. We're not just going to have like the Blau style auction. We'll have, you know, single minted NFTs you can auction off as well. We didn't want to limit people to just having that feature of the slots and tiers. Tim, is there anything that you would like to add about the auctions? I think the main point about the auctions is we really want to give 100% to artists on their launches. And that was something that Tim really pushed for and said that is one thing that's going to really empower artists. So Tim, I don't know if you want to talk about that or any of the auctions specifically.
Yeah, like the auctions kind of it was inspired by Justin Blau's auction mechanic that he did on Origin, but there's just a lot more benefits to a decentralized system. And there's also a huge lack of decentralized auctions in general. So we're hoping to provide a nice framework where we're just completely empowering the artists and creators, and because we're not taking anything from this, and we want this to be, you know, just free to use, and hope that it really helps the space. Yep.
Yeah, we really hope that these are just tools that everyone learns to use and kind of becomes part of what you do, whether it's building a community with our social or minting NFTs with our minting function, or, you know, making character lore and, you know, releasing your comic book via a bonding curve for your characters you made. I mean, really the possibilities and things that we're going to be doing are endless, and I'm getting really excited about it. I'm not going to talk too much about the galleries and social because we're running low on time. But I do think Troy, could you go over some of the decentralized media stuff and like some of the stuff that we're going to utilize and what that's going to be?
I don't want to dive too deeply into all that stuff because it's still kind of like up in the air. Sorry, they're doing construction if that's really loud. And the reason why I don't want to dive too deeply into it is because like it hasn't been 100% finalized with the lawyers on how we're going to fully achieve this. But just know that we are going to be using cutting edge stuff that will help empower artists and help empower the art that they create inside of new systems that will be fully decentralized, even down to like the UI level. And that will get really interesting as we start to flesh that out. I just don't want to I don't want to open, that's like Pandora's box right now if I dive too deeply into it, but
All good.
we are probably in the next, I'll be able to talk more about it maybe next time.
Okay.
I actually have meetings with lawyers later today about this.
Perfect.
So yeah, but yeah, I think one thing that I've been really impressed with that I did want to just kind of tack on to what Tim was saying was that we do, so we're not taking any fees on the auction stuff, but one of the things though is people are well, then how's the DAO going to accrue fees and all that? And we have come up with some pretty innovative secondhand services around that we are going to build into it that will accrue fees on a very basic level that I think they're going to be really interesting when people see how we've innovated on that, so that the kind of the core part doesn't take any fees, but everything else around it does in some way.
Yeah, more
so
of the
I'm excited
features.
to see how that actually plays out. And
The
to Tim's
retail.
credit, Tim was very much a maximalist on that, and I really respect it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is something that's really going to set us apart is 100% to an artist for launching a NFT drop. I don't think that exists. And I think that's exciting. I'm really excited about it. I'm just super excited about all this project. So we have one last thing to talk about, and that is the Keck DAO and really what we're going to do with it. And I can let Dragos and Tyler probably talk about this more. But on a basic level, we are going to fork the Barnbridge DAO. I believe we're going to have yield farming, but I don't know if we're going to have all the pools or all the same things that Barnbridge had. Some of it's going to be different. I think Dragos and Tyler may want to pick this up and explain a little bit about that. But right now we have an Eden DAO, and basically that was our launch DAO, and that is going to seed the Keck DAO. So,
Jagas, do you want to take that, or do you want me to? Because I did, after our call yesterday, talk with Malad and DM, so I don't know how much that went back to you. You're more than welcome to take it. I just don't know if you want to.
No, I was just my suggestion is that we could talk more during the next project call. I'm aware of the sort of changes to pool one and what tokens we want to put, all that stuff. But yeah, I'm thinking we should just make sure we hash out all the details and then come up with them. That's my feedback on it. But I'm not happy to speak about it.
Yeah,
don't have to
I
dive deep
actually
into
agree.
it.
Just so the community knows, we raised around $4.4 million in a round that was completely separate from any of the non-fungible Pepe. Non-fungible Pepe is shut down, no longer exists. All the money was returned. So this is a completely new entity. We're doing this community call ahead of the fact. The reason the details are a little hazy on a lot of these things is we have not finalized all of the information with lawyers that we need to in order to make formal announcements. So all of the token breakdowns, the cuts, all of that stuff is still in flux. It's probably 90% there where nothing's going to change drastically. So all of the stuff that I said on that Discord call that everybody was a part of, we're still doing the community drop for people that have been active in Discord. Those bots are still there. We're still allocating some of the tokens for people that bid on NFPs. A lot less than what was originally planned because we refunded so many of them. And we also, all of the, what we call community discretionary drops, that was originally 36 people, has gone to about 52 because more people have helped along the way. And so we've kind of increased the allocation for that. So The project's goal is to be community run. We're starting at like a place where there's probably 200 to 300 people that are like directly helping, as well as, let's call it, maybe thousands of people that will get the tokens in the community drop, because there's 2,000 people in our Discord. So I think when people see like the actual cuts, they're a little more weighted towards like team and original community investors than like say Barnbridge. But the reason is because Barnbridge, it was like 10 to 15 people and entities. This time around, it's far closer to 100, and probably with thousands of people. So like we're making sure that this token gets distributed and that community governance kicks in as fast as possible. But we still have to very much finalize all of this stuff before we make announcements. And yeah, that we are forking a lot of stuff from Barnbridge, but there is going to be some differences in the way that all the yield farming works. One thing would be, instead of pool one being USDC, SUSD, and DAI, because those were like the original things we wanted that the Smart Yield product was going to use. This is much more of a project about community. So we're probably going to pick a basket of tokens whose communities have helped us along the way. And those are going to be the staking tokens in different pools. But those are the types of details we're still hammering out. And so by the time that we have this call 2 weeks from now, we will have made formal announcements, and some of those cuts will be solidified in stone. And then naturally after that, they'll be on the blockchain, which nobody will be able to change.
Thanks, Tyler. I think Tyler sent me a note. I messed up explaining something in the call. The LimeChain guys are doing the smart contract work, not the back end development. That's the DMOB guys doing all the back end development stuff. So just clarifying, I've made that mistake in explaining, but I think everyone gets it. All right. I think that's everything for this call. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you all in 2 weeks for the next project call. Does anyone have anything to say?
I guess actually, Tyler, I have a question. When are we thinking? Because when are we releasing the docs? That's the question.
Well, we talked to Doug, our attorney, tomorrow. One thing that I'll say for anybody who's been following along, we've cut out a lot of the financial stuff in the docs. Like a lot of the stuff around like fractionalized NFTs and how all that works. Like that's not that's very much like, I don't know if any core drops are going to play around with that stuff. A lot of the stuff that we talked on this. So let me just put it this way. Future calls are going to be a lot more organized. Mark, you actually crushed this call running it for the fact that none of this stuff is written down for anybody but me, Tim, Dragos, and Troy. But we have, I would say, final sign off on a call with our attorney to make sure everything that we're saying is legal before we say that we're going to do it. And so I would say once we talk to Doug, I'm going to be in Puerto Rico, but I can finalize a lot of those docs by next week, work with the team. And I think that we can start to make announcements next week. So then by the time that we're on the call, let's say 2 weeks from today for the next community call, yeah, I mean, people will have a little more insight into like what exactly is going on. And as we start to hammer out timelines, we prioritize the auction and minting stuff ahead of the DAO and token release just because of like demand in the NFT space right now. But all of that stuff is coming. So yeah, I would say hopefully that answers your question, Troy, but we have to talk about
I was just I was kind of playing on the joke, because if you were in like the early NFP stuff, like the people were always like, when are the docs coming?
Yeah.
Well, I also told the community that the silent period was over as of last week, and it's probably going to be next week. So the docs are coming. Alex Bertoli.
Hopefully we'll have the website up with the docs next week. It should be done. It's almost done. It's literally right there. All right, guys. I think this was successful, and we can end this. Join us again in 2 weeks on Thursday at 10 a.m. If there's any changes on the time, I'll post it on Twitter and let everyone know. I'm also going to start posting these calls on the Cactao repo and Twitter on the Cactao Twitter. So please retweet, share, subscribe, like, all the stuff. Thank you, guys.
Cool. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, everyone.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.